All right, so I'm reviewing. This is the worksheet for your assignment 5. So this is assignment number 5. We're just practicing finding the missing angle from the triangles given to you. So find the values of the angle. So it should say like theta or the angle for each triangle. Give exact answers and answers round to the nearest 10,000ths. So like if you had 1, 2, 3, this is tenths, hundreds, thousands. This is the 10,000ths. All right. If you round it to something different, it's fine. But let's just go over this. So tan of theta. So remember tan equals opposite over adjacent. So we're looking at theta. What's opposite side of theta? 6. And what's the side touching theta? So this is touching theta, but this is always going to be the hypotenuse. The longest side across from that right angle is always the hypotenuse. So this is the adjacent one. That's touching the theta. So we have tan of theta equals, remember, opposite over adjacent. You can't switch them. So 6 over 8. To find tan, I have to do the inverse of the ratio. So if you have a graphing calculator at home, you would go to second tan of our ratio, 6 over 8, and I get 36.8699 if I round it. 0.8699 degrees. Okay, so that would be your answer. Okay. It says 6 trig functions. I haven't showed you the other 3, so we're actually only looking at cosine tangent. We're only looking at SOHCAHTOA. All right. So we haven't actually learned this yet. All right, so find the measure of each angle indicated, round to the nearest 10th. So first you should look at what you're given. So steps I wrote here. Think, what sides am I given? Am I given the opposite of the angle? Am I given the adjacent? Am I given the hypotenuse? So according to the angle, I'm given the opposite is 8 and the hypotenuse is 15. So if I'm given those two things, I have to, you can write SOHCAHTOA up here. So this is sine, this is cosine, this is tan. Which trig function gives me opposite and hypotenuse? Well, it's sine, because I have the O and the H, so I'm going to use sine of theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. And to find theta, I do second inverse sine of my ratio, 8 over 15. I get 32 as to the nearest 10th degree. So I'll just do 32.2 degrees. Okay, you're finding the degrees of what this would be. Okay, let's go to the next one. So again, what sides am I given first? Then decide what trig function matches the sides. And then you're going to take the inverse trig function. So this is what I'm doing. My first step is to find out what I'm given. So compared to wherever theta is or the angle, you go to first. So I'm given the hypotenuse. And I'm given, this one's touching 7, so I'm given the adjacent side. So which one of these has A and H? It's cosine. So cosine of theta equals, and it's A divided by H. Don't do 14 over 7. It's 7 over 14. Okay, and then to find my angle, I take the inverse, which is my third step of my ratio. So second cosine of 7 over 14, and some of you might just simplify that to a half, which is fine. So cosine of is 60. Okay. All right, this is also equal to a half. Some of you were simplifying on the homework, their homework, so it's the same thing. Okay, 60 degrees. All right, let's do some more. So again, step one, compared to here, what do I have? I have the opposite and I have the adjacent. Okay, so which one of SOHCAHTOA has opposite and adjacent, O and H? It's tan. So tan of theta equals its opposite over adjacent first. So 6/11. Step 3 is to take the inverse of your ratio to get your answer. So in my calculator, second tan of 6 divided by 11, 28.6 degrees. Okay. Let's do this one. So again, what do I have in comparison? I have the adjacent and I have the hypotenuse. So this one is going to be cosine. Compared to the angle, what do I have? I have the opposite. And this looks like adjacent, but be careful. This is the hypotenuse. So sometimes you got to make sure, is it the hypotenuse or is it adjacent? Because the hypotenuse is always the longest side across from the right angle. That's how you can remember it. Number 7, I have the opposite and the adjacent, so that would be tan. Okay, and you don't always have to write out everything. If you want to just write this out and give me the answer, that's fine. Okay, so you guys are only doing evens. And I did these ones with you if you watch the video, so you can start at from 6 and onward. I think it ends at like 22, so only even numbers. And you can start at 6 because I did these few for you. Hopefully watch this so you can make sense of it. Again, the steps I took. What sides am I given? Figure that out first. What trig function matches the sides I'm given? And then take the inverse trig function.